Thank you for joining us for this special interview here, episode of Plays Well with Others. I'm here with Lorna, who actually runs our local town's gaming club, EGG, the Eugene Games Gala. And I can never remember, is it Eugene Game Gala or Games Gala, or does it not matter?
It probably doesn't matter.
Okay, I haven't been doing it wrong all the time. But I wanted to talk to you before things get crazy today, because today is the second morning in the annual 3-day convention that you run. I wanted to take a moment to ask you kind of what it's like running a local game convention, because you not only do the 3 days.
Yes.
EGG also hosts a quarterly game day as well, and you work with local hotel to use the ballroom here, which is great. So I want to ask you, well, first of all, how long has EGG been running?
So we were talking about that yesterday, and it's I've been running it for 10 years now as a 3-day convention, and I'd had a few game days before that, kind of getting things started, but it's been at least 10 years now since I've been running a 3-day convention.
Wow. How has the attendance and kind of the atmosphere of the convention changed over that decade?
Well, there's kind of a certain core group of gamers that it started out with, most of who still stop by and come to the convention. Word has kind of spread to the surrounding local area. Have a few friends that maybe passing through the state for various reasons from other parts of the country have been able to come along. I probably have a little bit slightly different focus on my convention, as I'm not necessarily trying to grow it, because I prefer a smaller, quieter venue to play games in. But we've kind of moved up in our hotels and things over the years. So,
well, I was gonna ask, for the 3-day convention, kind of, this is the big event of the year. How many people on average, attend?
So on our busiest day for EGG, it usually ranges between 50 and 70 for our convention.
And in our town, Eugene, it's about 150,000 people or so.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty good, percentage of gamers for the community here. For people out there who are trying to create a similar type of convention or local game club, what kind of marketing or advertising do you do to make people know about it?
A lot of it is word of mouth, because the gaming world is a small world, so we all know somebody else that games that maybe have never heard of it. Word of mouth is kind of nice because, you're going to get a good crowd in. Also, social media now is a much bigger piece of it. It's having a Facebook page, being able to post on meetups is also great. We do have a local FLGS, and so also putting some information there.
You do like door prizes and stuff during the convention, and they provide a lot of stuff. So is working with the game store, is that kind of an integral part of making it all work?
I think it's nice because it can offer some benefits to the people who do come to the convention, like being able to, order games without shipping and things like that, which is nice if you only want to order one game instead of, $200 worth. So it can help the pocketbook a little bit. It is also nice because they do help provide some price support. I don't necessarily think it's an absolute, but it's a nice thing that we're lucky enough to be able to have here in Eugene.
Cool. Well, what about the venue? I'm always, I always enjoy coming down to the room that you have here. And I know a couple of years ago, it was in a different hotel ballroom, and then the hotel went away, and it moved here. But what does it take to work with the hotel to secure a venue like this?
Most hotels have a sales catering department. Basically, it's just a lot of footwork, looking at websites, making actual phone calls, going out to see how big a convention room is. For myself, when they start talking about, well, it'll fit 60 people, but, it may be a very squeezed 60 people. So you have to really go out and look at the actual room and see what you can get. Again, for myself, since we host a couple of days also during the year, trying to get a deal in as far as pricing goes is important. I can book this many days. Can you give me a better rate, kind of thing. For a local convention, you're probably not going to get great hotel room rates just because most people are local and not staying at your hotel. So it's very difficult to work that around, unfortunately. So I can't help a lot of people that come from out of town that way. Yeah.
And so do you work with other local conventions a lot at all, or are you just kind of word of mouth and just doing your own thing?
Sometimes, dropping flyers off at other conventions that are local to the area is helpful. We have the Game Storm, Lebanon Con, so it just kind of depends on.
Well, for a 3-day convention, I at first would assume it means you get to play a lot of games. But then again, as the host and administrator of it, do you actually get to play a lot of games during the actual game conventions, or are you taken away by other tasks of hosting?
On the slow days, usually I can get a fair number of games in. On the busy days, or the days when we have the door prizes and things, it's a little bit less. Also, as you are trying to build up a population and gamers, being able to meet the new gamers, try to play some games with the new people is always helpful as well. So,
that's true. And do you, for anyone else that wants to kind of develop a game club or a local convention like this, do you have any tips for anyone that you've kind of discovered over the last 10 years that might not be obvious, that might be helpful?
Really, you want to, it sounds kind of weird, but you want to don't set it up so big that it's going to be beyond what you can manage. Again, that's part of the reason why I've tried to keep this one slow. I don't have that much free time to, organize vendors or big events and scheduled events and things like that. And so unless you have a lot of help to do that, don't try to, I think, overreach your
don't come right out and say, I'm going to have 1,000 people at this convention.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Just set those realistic limits on how many people you're going to expect. How much you can, you have to take the finances, of course, into account. How much do you think people can afford to
That's
come?
another important point is that Egg is a paid event to come in. So that's one thing that people, I think, myself, didn't realize at first. Even with my own little game club I've worked with. That can be a thing that can cause it to implode really quickly.
Right.
You got to keep that in mind.
Yeah. So, setting those realistic limits is important.
That's good advice. So, okay, well, I guess the only question remaining is, what games are you looking forward to playing today?
So today, we definitely have a couple of longer games we're going to try to get in, the ones that we don't necessarily always have time to play. So some of the older games, maybe Terra Mystica or Patch History. Also trying to still get in the last of the Essen crop that I haven't gotten played yet. There's always a few stragglers that for whatever reason you never quite make it to the table.
There's always a few.
Right.
Well, I'll let you go get started on those games, and thank you for sitting down with me.
Okay, all right. And thanks for coming to my convention.
I've been waiting for it since it ended last year. So.
All right.
And thank you guys for watching. And for more board game news, reviews, and commentary, be sure to subscribe to both the Pair of Dice Paradise and Dice Tower YouTube channels, and join us on Facebook and Twitter as well. And also make sure to join your local game club and convention on Twitter and Facebook to continue the conversations and find out what's going on there too. Till the next video, I've been Chaz Marler, and thanks, and I'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
It's also important to have lots of coffee.
Now that is a good tip.